Welcome back with the Pakistan elections. And now Imran Khan. Well, of course, Imran became globally famous as one of the world's greatest cricketers. But on his retirement, he turned to politics in his home country. He has devoted himself to fighting for democracy in Pakistan. So much so that his party, the Movement for Justice Party, is boycotting these elections, along with a number of other smaller parties who are doing the same thing, believing the elections to be undemocratic. Imran joins me now from Islamabad. Imran, thank you for joining us. Why are you not taking part in this election? What was the basic reason?
Well, David, my party came into being 11 years ago, calling ourselves Movement for Justice. And we were campaigning for an independent judiciary. Now, for the first time in 60 years history of Pakistan, the judiciary has striven for independence. First time a Chief Justice has taken a stand according to the Constitution. And as a result, he's put under house arrest. 60% of the Superior Court judges have been dismissed unconstitutionally. Now, if we fight the elections, if we contest the elections, we would be contesting the elections under a law made by Musharraf, not under the Constitution. And it's called the Provisional Constitutional Order. And that means we would be fighting the elections and betraying the judges. So that's why, my party stood for independence of judiciary. And so there's no way, once the judiciary is now being penalized for being independent and fighting and standing by the Constitution, there's no way I can go and fight an election that has no constitutional standing.
But is it possible that, despite the points you've just made, is it possible that this election might turn out to be free and fair?
David, it is impossible. I mean, it's a joke to call this election even remotely free and fair. I'm not even talking about the polling day. Everyone thinks that on the polling day, all the contestants, all the opposition parties feel that on the polling day there will be massive rigging. But already what is called pre-poll rigging is going on at a massive scale. The entire state machinery is involved in doing a campaign for the government candidates. And it's not even a secret, everyone can see it. The whole government is trying to make sure that the government-backed candidates win.
What would you say is the least bad result that can come out of this election from your point of view? The best that can come out as a result?
Well, what is the most likely result is that the opposition parties, which is People's Party and PMLN, these are the two ex-prime ministers who lead these two parties, it looks like they are going to, despite all the rigging, Musharraf's rating has fallen to such a low now that despite all the rigging, these two parties are going to get a majority. And so once that happens, then we, the democratic forces, will put pressure on these two parties to reinstate the judges.
And if people perceive the election to be stolen, you don't think there's a danger of anything happening in Pakistan similar to what happened in Kenya after the elections there?
Well, if Musharraf rigs the election to the point where the King's party gets a majority or his allied parties get a majority, it's going to be a worse situation than Kenya. There was just a poll out 2 days back that 58% of the people polled said that they would, if Musharraf manages to get his parties a majority, then they would go out to protest. That's 58% of the population. So I think you will, even if 10% come out, there'll be chaos.
And are there any of the parties fighting this election that you, Imran, would most feel able to cooperate with?
Well, at the moment, there is only one party, and that is Nawaz Sharif's party, PMLN, which is talking about, if it comes to power, they will have the judiciary reinstated, the constitutional judiciary reinstated. That's the only party that is sort of talking about the line which most of Pakistani people want, because according to polls, the majority of Pakistanis want the judges to be reinstated. Also, the alliance which I'm part of, which has boycotted the election, the All Parties Democratic Movement, we say that you cannot have elections in a country, you cannot have democracy if 60% of your Superior Court judges have been sacked unconstitutionally. So we want them reinstated. Only one party is saying that right now. Surprisingly, People's Party, which is supposed to be standing for democracy, is not calling for the reinstatement of the judges. And this has in turn raised questions that perhaps who's the chairman, co-chairman of People's Party, Asif Ali Zardari, perhaps he cannot afford independent judges because of the corruption cases against him.
And in a year's time, crystal gazing, will President Musharraf still be the president of Pakistan a year from now?
I would be very surprised if Musharraf lost these elections, simply because there's a deadlock coming up. If he gets his party to win the elections, no one is going to accept it, and you will see a lot of public unrest. If, on the other hand, the opposition wins a majority, then there's a problem, because Musharraf has acquired the powers of the Prime Minister. Remember, this is a parliamentary form of government. And he has, first he's appointed his own judges, sacked the legal constitutional judiciary of Pakistan, appointed his own judges, who then have given him the right to amend the constitution. He's made about 46 constitutional changes and actually taken away the powers of the Prime Minister to a president who's basically a ceremonial post in a parliamentary democracy. So when the Prime Minister, if the opposition gets a Prime Minister in, he will have no power, but he will have all the responsibility. Musharraf will be holding all the power. So no one is going to accept that, so we expect a clash immediately. And I don't think Musharraf is going to last.
One other thing, Imran, although you haven't taken part in this election, for the reasons you said, do you still retain your aspiration to one day be leader of Pakistan?
Of course, David, that's why I'm in politics. But you see, power for me is for a purpose. I mean, there's no point in coming into power at the expense of your judiciary. And if you do not have a powerful justice system, you can neither have democracy, you cannot have rule of law, and you cannot have prosperity. So what is the point of even getting more seats in this assembly if at the end we don't have a justice system left? Because a dictator, in order to stay in power, has destroyed the judiciary. So basically, I mean, I only want to come to power if I can bring about changes, bring about reform in Pakistan, a socio-economic change in the country. And if you want to bring about a change, you first have to fix the justice system. And unfortunately, at the moment, if we contest the elections, we would be actually legitimizing the destruction of our judiciary.
Imran, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, David.
Imran Khan there. Maria has rejoined us again, I'm delighted to say. What were your reflections on Shaukat Aziz and Imran?
Well, I thought there were a couple of really interesting contrasts there in the clips. I think, first of all, while Shaukat Aziz was saying that the elections are likely to deliver a hung parliament, a parliament where no single party will win an absolute majority, Imran Khan was saying that the opposition will win two-thirds majority. And I think it's more likely that these elections will deliver a hung parliament, which then will lead on to negotiations over a coalition government.
And in terms of looking at them there, the predictions about the future of President Musharraf, Imran was saying there that he may not survive the election and so on.
Absolutely.
Do you think he'll still be there in a year's time?
Absolutely. I mean, that was the second contrast. While Shaukat Aziz was saying that Pakistan needs Musharraf, Imran Khan was saying that when post-elections political setting comes, there will be challenges to Musharraf, both in the National Assembly and also in the courts. So, clearly Imran Khan and also partially Nawaz Sharif in the clips were indicating that, Musharraf might face challenges in terms of impeachment, or otherwise his powers might be reduced.
So you think it's dubious that he'll be there in a year's time?
Well, I think that it is pushing it, that his popularity has fallen very, very dramatically. And I would be surprised if he's able to regain that popularity and maintain the current powerful position that he has.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you to all of our leaders who've been with us in the programme. And we wish these elections on Monday peace, security and progress towards democracy. That's all for now. Bye-bye.